nice exchange. Good series between the Pistons and Raptors all season long. The Pistons get it done here tonight, 127-116. Three-point shooting, huge story in this game. Duncan Robinson had 5 triples. How about Cade Cunningham's parents in the house? Giving a little warm welcome to Jalen Duren. But let's hear from Duncan Robinson at 5 triples, 19 points here tonight.
All right, Duncan, you guys get in at 4 a.m. last night after an overtime game. I'm tired just thinking about it. Where did you guys find the energy here tonight?
Well, there are a couple of us that didn't play last night. Just super inspiring watching their effort. And the last thing I wanted to do was come in tonight and not bring a lot of energy. Didn't want to let those guys down. So, you know, that's a tough win. Second night of back-to-back, obviously getting in when we did. So I'm proud of this group for sure.
You talk about you wanting to bring the energy. You didn't play last night, but you came out here with 5 threes and contributed in a big way. When you get going like that, what are you seeing from your perspective?
Just trying to be aggressive. You know, my teammates found me in good spots, so, you know, when I am able to kind of line my feet up and get one off, just shoot it aggressively. Yeah, so, you know, always nice to get a couple to go in, build a little confidence.
Absolutely. It felt like you guys also really settled after halftime, taking care of the basketball especially. What changed there?
Yeah, I thought we were a little bit better at not beating ourselves in the second half. Until the end there, we kind of let go of the rope a little bit, which wasn't great, but nonetheless, good win. But yeah, just the self-inflicted stuff, offensive rebounds, turnovers, stuff like that.
With this win here tonight, you guys clinched the Central Division for the first time since 2007. I know we're going back quite a ways, but something to celebrate.
Yeah.
I know this is your first year with the squad, but just knowing what they've been through to have an accolade now like that, just what you think that means to your guys?
Yeah, definitely got to celebrate the little wins along the way. You know, this is one that we're proud of. We'll probably celebrate this one tonight, and then we'll move on to bigger and better things tomorrow. But good win nonetheless.
Absolutely. Thanks, Doug. I appreciate it.
Appreciate you. Yeah.
Jalen Duren with a great game here tonight, too. Johnny and Grant as the Pistons beat the Raptors on this second night of a back-to-back here downtown Detroit.
And with that, Natalie, the magic number shrinks to 2 for the Pistons to secure the #1 overall seed. Here is a look at the up-to-date standings. Keep in mind, Cleveland Cavaliers play tonight at the LA Lakers. So a 4.5 game lead, 6 games left to play, and the magic number down to 2. It's a thing of beauty. Detroit, Boston, and New York have all clinched at this point in time. Cleveland expected to do so here within the next day or so. So it's been incredible. Like, you heard about the win in the Central Division. That was brought up earlier today, and somebody said, does it really matter? You know, look, when they announced it to this crowd, it mattered.
Yeah.
And it matters from a standpoint of that isn't your objective necessarily at the beginning of the year, but if you do all the right things, again, along the way, you're going to start checking some boxes.
Yep.
But the fact that they haven't won a division title since 07-08, and they've had some decent teams during that stretch. But the way I always look at it, and it is different from, like, you know, baseball or like in football, you win your division, you know, guarantee your postseason spots, all that. I get it. It's different. But you also want to let everybody else know in your conference, right, like Cleveland, and where you say, look, we got this thing, okay? We got bigger fish to fry
Right.
down the road, but it is important.
Yeah, we're going to take this thing. It's like I've always said, you know, having the wins that they had this season, but it's one of those things that you grab along the way on your road and on your journey.
Yeah.
That means something. You know, if you're going to play for something, you'd like to win it. You'd like to be first. And right now, winning the Central Division, that means that the Pistons are first. So, again, anytime you can win something, whatever it is, I think that's a feather in your cap.
You play to win.
You play to win. It's simply put. You play to win.
That's it. All right, so Pistons, very good that they wrap up the Central Division. Tonight, I'll tell you the other thing. You know, people on the outside looking at Detroit, and they say, well, they just don't have enough perimeter shooting. Well, you know, and again, tonight's one example, but they shot nearly 60% clip in our Buick GMC Pro Vision. Let's look at some of the three-point shooting. They don't fall in love with it. They don't force three-point shots. 23, attempts here tonight. They make 13 of them. That's a number you can, a digestible number. But they've got some shooters on this team.
Yeah, and they only made 5 more after the halftime break. They were 8 of 13 at the break. But here's the thing. This was the kind of shooting night that the Pistons needed to have because the Toronto Raptors are very, very good on the inside. They rebound well. They score in the paint. So you needed to get 3 for their 2, if you will. And the Pistons did a great job of finding their three-point shooters. They came out on fire. As I mentioned, 8 of 13 in the first half. That was the big difference in this game. That's why the Pistons were able to really level out the interior presence of the Toronto Raptors because their three-point shooting was so accurate tonight.
Yeah, and it's always, I like looking at this stuff, like the shot charts at the end. You see where they get them. A lot of the teams, obviously, remember that stretch just a couple years ago where everything was in the corners?
Yeah, that's the easiest three, so the experts tell us.
Right. But you can see, obviously, the distribution. The guys, Kevin Huerter coming off screens, Duncan Robinson, who had 5 of them tonight, up there on the wings. Just a good shooting night for this Pistons team, and a game Toronto team that came in here and showed some fight for sure, but then the Pistons were just able to bury them and then win this one going away.
Their three-point shooters really stepped up, the Pistons did. And again, you saw the shot chart there. Anytime you find a hot hand from your three-point shooters, you've got to find a way to keep getting them the basketball. So kudos to the team. Coach Bickerstaff for continuing to run those sets that will reveal those three-point opportunities.
Early in this game, obviously the Pistons, they struggled turning the basketball over. I mean, it was but that's what Toronto does. Toronto does, I'm not going to say as well as Detroit, but that is a big reason why they've been able to win so well. Obviously, you talk about their interior game, but they're so disruptive in the passing lanes and everything. But the Pistons were able to share the basketball and then make it a little bit crisper passes, I think, as the game wore on. They didn't have as many turnovers in the third quarter, which is when they ceded control, or when they assumed control of the game. 33 assists tonight, but their ball movement and our Xfinity highlights, that was the thing.
Let's make some cuts to the basket. If they're not, then I'm going to have my way down here near the basket, and I'm going to shoot a high percentage as he has all season long. That's how you start the basketball game. You got to find out what the defense is set up to do, and the way that you do that is throw the ball inside, let Jalen Duren do what he's going to do. If they're going to double team, as I said, we're going to have three-point shot opportunities. We're going to have basket cuts. All of those things avail themselves if you get Jalen Duren the basketball early, and certainly that's what happened. I don't know if that's what the game plan was from Coach Bickerstaff, but certainly that's what it appeared to happen.
Remember, we talked about that meeting against Toronto in mid-March when they out-rebounded the Pistons and out-pointed them in the paint, and we heard Dwayne Casey talking before the game. He said, watch Jalen Duren tonight. He ain't going to let that happen.
Yes.
Pirtle had, 18 rebounds in that first matchup. Pirtle played a nice game, but he didn't come close to that tonight. But Jalen Duren took it on a personal mission to own the paint, and own it he did. Let's send it inside. We'll hear from head coach J.B. Bickerstaff following the win.
JB, second night of a back-to-back, little sleep. That's just a challenge in itself. But what stood out to you as the coach here tonight, watching your team handle that physically and mentally?
It was going to be a tough one, right? The travel scenario wasn't the best. By the time I got home, it was 4:45 this morning. So I can imagine with the guys and trying to find how you get to sleep to get the rest that you need for tonight. And then playing against a team like Toronto that plays physical and fast. But it speaks to, again, the resolve of this group and their willingness to do whatever it takes, the mental toughness they have to fight through fatigue and all those things, to go out and get a good win against a good team.
You guys were really able to cut down on your turnovers after halftime. What did you like about just the way the group was handling the basketball?
Yeah, we were tripping early. That's what it was. We just allowed their physicality get the best of us. Our spacing got bad. But in the second half, we were able to figure it out, and they're a team that turns people over. But 21 turnovers is too many. We were lucky and fortunate to survive that.
JD's been on a tear all season, but especially since All-Star. Just his overall efficiency, typically guys who are as efficient as he is at center are mostly feasting on dunks and lobs, but for him, it's a lot more than that. Just what are you seeing that's enabled him to get the better of so many front courts and be as efficient as he's been?
Just the confidence, in the development of his game. And, he's talented, man. He can handle and face guys up. He's a different type of big than you see most nights in the NBA. You may have some spacing bigs or some post-up bigs, but you know, when you got a guy who can face you up in space, who's got great strength, great hands, great feet, and can finish at a high level, he's hard to guard. And especially, you know, he can play through contact and making his free throws now. So he's just a problem for people. And, you know, it's the rebounding, it's, you know, the offensive stuff. It's the Sharon being a hub for us offensively. He's just grown, and it's been beautiful to watch.
Coach, from your point of view, what